Welcome to the Jeremiah Show. We have a very special guest today. We in fact have two, and I'm not going to tell you who they are yet. Well, I'm going to keep you guessing because we are talking about The Voice again. We are featuring two artists from The Voice that are just killing it. The first up, man, I love her voice, talking and singing. She's on season 23. Coaches this year: Chance the Rapper, Kelly Clarkson, Niall Horan, Blake Shelton, and host Carson Daly. What is The Voice? You may not know, and if you don't, now you know. America's Best Undiscovered Talent goes head to head on teams led by four of today's biggest musical icons who playfully compete against each other, have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and then they get really serious with the music. And they mentor these inspiring and aspiring singers in search of the next superstar voice. There's new episodes dropping every Monday and Tuesday on NBC, 8/7 Central, and streaming the next day on Peacock. And I'm so happy about that. I love Peacock, and that's where I catch it. All right, let me welcome my special guest to the show. Her name is Gina Miles. She's on Team Niall. She's coming to us live today from Sacramento, California. And welcome, Gina. So good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what did I tell you? Listen to that voice. Isn't that great? You're young, and I don't want to point out your age and embarrass you that way, but nothing wrong with being young. But you have a voice of someone who has, I think of like Ella Fitzgerald, or think of just this deep, soulful, powerful voice at such an age.
Thank you.
Where'd you get that?
I think just practice. Just a lot of practice. My natural speaking voice sits really high. So when I sing, I really have to focus and make sure that it's a little bit more from my chest, but it's just like that. I don't know what happened to me.
It's just the way you were born, and you got a gift there for sure. That's a great voice. I've really enjoyed your music and watching you on The Voice as you've gone through the various hoops and obstacles and challenges. And I just wanted to congratulate you for all that success. Gina, we came in with the one that got away, which was your voice blind audition.
Yeah.
How were you feeling right then when you did that?
I was like the most terrified I've ever been in my life.
Really?
Because as much as they prepare you, for your song, and you get all ready and they do rehearsals and everything like that, there is no way to prepare yourself to see the coaches in real life. So I walked out on the stage and you just see their names on the back of the chair, and I was like, they're actually sitting there right now. And I just was really, really nervous. And I'm a normally nervous performer anyway, but I was just a little bit extra nervous that day.
That's interesting. So do you perform a lot outside of The Voice? Have you performed a lot in your lifetime?
Yeah, in my short lifetime, yeah, I have. Yeah, I did gigs starting when I was 14. I would do bars, hotels. My first ever gig was in a mall food court, which is really random, but it was where I had to sing at the time. So I did that, and I've gigged a lot, but never on this sort of scale, and never this intense of a performance. Because normally when you gig, it's a couple hours. There's people in and out all the time. No one's really there to see you. So this was the first time I was ever on a platform where people were looking at just you and there to be entertained. And it was really just the one performance rather than a full set list of things.
Yeah.
So I had experience, but it was never anything on this scale.
You said that you see the names on the back of the chairs, and you're singing to them, and you've never been so scared in your life. You said I can imagine did you think, so this is what the big time's like, because you will be there. I mean, you already are there, but this will continue for you. But
Mhm.
this was this, so this is your first time on like the lights and the sound is right, and you've got a crew and a band and everybody backing you up, and but
Mhm.
you're performing for probably some of your heroes, I would imagine.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also they're very sweet. Every single one of the coaches are amazing, lovely people, but they are legends. Every single one of them has amazing, successful careers. And so to put your foot out into the mix and be like, well, I could sing a little, is scary
Well,
because because you're like, especially for me, Kelly Clarkson, I am the biggest fangirl of her ever. And to even have the opportunity to like be in the same room as her, I was already like falling over the floor, like all over about it. And then she turned her chair and I was like, Kelly, what are you doing here? I was like, what? I was just so
there she
flabbergasted.
is.
I know it was really shocking for me, but I was really excited. I feel like you can't tell in the moment because I just looked horrified, but I was really excited.
Well, no, you pulled it off. I didn't know you. I couldn't tell you were horrified or panicked, which is great, right? It's so funny. Your head's probably, your blood's pulsing, and you're like, you can't hear anything, you can't see anything. You're like ringing, right? Your ears are ringing. You're just probably in shock that you have your Kelly Clarkson, your idol, in front of you, someone that you admire. Um, what was that? When you're singing, you're probably in a zone, or you probably just like blank out. How does that, what happens to you when you were in that moment, when that was, that blood and that adrenaline and all that was running through you?
It's crazy. I almost every single time I always get scared that you're gonna hear like my heartbeat in the microphone because it's like so close.
You can
Um,
hear it.
yeah,
Can you hear it in your ears? Yeah.
it's really like pounding in my ears every single time. But um, it was weirdly like I can't remember anything like while it's happening, and then I like see it back, and then I remember that I did that. Um, but I really don't remember anything. I just try to remember like the feeling of the song. But like
Mm.
if I think about the words too much, like I'll forget them. If I think like I need to open my eyes, like they're gonna close or like you know what I mean. It's like the worst thing. So I really just kind of like let it all be what it is gonna be.
Yeah. So you felt the song, and that's how you remember the lyrics, and it flows through you.
Yeah, it's just the vibes, it's the feeling. And like if I don't feel it, how is anybody else gonna feel it at home? Like how am I gonna make the judges like turn around? Like how are we gonna do any of the things? So it's all about how it feels. And I've gotten some comments that I'm not the most emotive um person when I'm singing, which I'm trying
You're
to
not,
get better at.
you're not the most what? What was
Emo
it?
Emotive person, like on my
Okay.
face, like I'm super expressive like when I'm talking. Um, but I do try to give as much as I can, but I'm nervous. I was especially for my blind, um, I was very, very nervous. And then obviously when you get chair turns, it's like you would think it's like a relief, but I was just even more nervous when I like was looking them dead in the eye. So
I love that though. That's sweet. What's what what drives you to do? I could never do what you did, what you just did, or what you're doing. What drives you? I mean, is it like something you have to do? It's just who you are, but it scares the heck out of you. Like at the same time, you're like, do you ever go, what am I doing up here?
I 100%. I think the thing that drives me is songwriting and creating that kind of space for myself. I'm a pretty shy, not confident person in my normal life, and as the show like has gone on, I've been able to grow a bit. But I definitely, when I started for my audition, I was that person who's very, I don't want to talk too much and I don't want to say too many things, talk too loud or anything. So it is a very conflicting job that I have because my career prospect is to be looked at, to be seen, and to be the loudest one in the room. So it's a little conflicting with my actual personality. But the thing that's the driving force is absolutely writing and telling stories and things like that, that to me is the only thing that I have to offer in the world. I feel like I'm not really good at anything else. I've never been passionate about anything like the way I am about this, and um, I'm a very all or nothing kind of person. So I think that when I started this journey, that I really wanted to put everything that I have in it and give it all that I have, because I really think that this is what I'm supposed to do. Um,
I think so
so
too.
that's
I think so
thank you.
too, for sure. Have you always been shy?
Yeah, which is it's a silly thing, to like self-proclaim that I'm a shy person,
Mhm.
but it comes up a lot in conversations and things from the show. So like I understand, but um, when ever since I was younger, I have an older sister too, so she's a very big personality, talkative person, and I love being like her little wingman, and I'm just not really into being the front person. Um, and look at me now being the front person. But,
Look at you
uh,
now.
I know. But ever since I was a kid, I've just kind of been to myself, and like I have the closest of friends and I'm so close with my family. Um, but I'm a very to myself kind of person.
How do you spend your days? Are you alone a lot? You write a lot? You're
I do write a lot. I live with my aunt. Um, and two of my cousins we live together, so I have some alone time sometimes, and I'm definitely writing 24/7. It's like my favorite thing to write music, even if it's not for myself. I just like to do all the different kind of genres and just like mess around and make fun things even if they never see the light of day. I just like to create things for myself, and maybe one day people will hear more things from me. That's like my biggest dream.
Is there something that you're writing now or a theme that's important to you these days that you're trying to capture those emotions and those feelings and thoughts in a song? Is there something right now that means a lot to you?
So my last EP, or should I say my first one, is
My
called
last.
Who Are
Oh, just my last EP.
My last one. My first EP, Who Are You? Almost all the songs on there, I feel like I can say all the songs on that EP I wrote not from personal experience. They were all just creative things from movies or friends or books and things like that. I'm a big consumer of media, so like I like all those sorts of things. But I had
Yeah.
never really experienced the things that I had written about. I just wanted to write about something. And I hope the next project that I can be like do and put out and that I'm working on is more things from my personal experience, because I wrote those songs when I was like 16-ish and some earlier, some after. And I'm 19 now. So I have a little bit more things under my belt and things that I want to say with my voice and not the stories of other people, which I'm sure will always be a part of my writing style. But I hope after the show and the time in between that I can kind of cultivate that kind of story
Yeah.
for myself and give people a little bit more of a piece of me.
If you could sum it up in just a couple words or a sentence, what is your story? Who are you?
Um, I think that I'm a pretty simple person. I always say that. I just like to sing. I love my family. I'm a very like uh focused person, and I have my goals and I know what I want to do. But I'm also just a teenage girl, you know, and I, have such close friends and I fall in love and I get my heart broken and all those things that go along with having a career and just being a teenager. So I want to put those two together and give that to the world too, because I feel like I have some fun things to say. I feel like there's definitely a space that I've created that I want people to like share with me. So
You're super interesting. You have a lot to say.
thank you.
I'm enjoying this conversation. What is
Yeah.
it like to be a teenage girl these days? I mean, we hear, you read, I'm not a teenage girl, obviously. I don't know, but I read and I hear. But what, from your perspective, is it good? Is it hard? What are the challenges? What would you say to other teenage girls of your age that are struggling with the ups and the downs of life at that age? And what do you say to them? And what's it like for you?
I think it's a very changing time. And I think to me, growing up, I always heard those things like you understand when you're older and things will change and you won't know that they've changed until they've passed already. And I feel like I'm in that spot right now where I like am so reminiscent of when I was a kid and I'm not yet old enough that I'm like an adult. So I'm really in between.
Yeah.
And I think the other teenage girls, I obviously can't speak for them, but for me, I wouldn't say it's difficult. It's just very ever changing. There's always like new things. I'm always learning new things about the world or about myself. And I think that we all just have to stick together because we're all like in this really formative time. And for me, I don't really have a normal path where I went to college and I got my degree and I have like a 9 to 5. My job is a little weird and not really normal. Um, but I feel like because both my cousins they have normal jobs and we talk about it all the time together. And even though we have different jobs, like we experience a lot of the same thing, growing, changing, whether it be work or your personal life. And I think to other teenage girls, I would just say, like, we are all in this together. And
I
there are so
like
many of
that.
us. We really are, no matter what your like job is, where you live, where you come from, who you're gonna be. Like, we're all just kind of in this boat together. So I think that we got to stick together no matter what, because there are some like scary things happening all the time. There are intense parts of your life, and um, there's a community of people out there for you who are going through the same thing.
How wise. What wise words. It's all stay together. I haven't heard that from anybody yet, and I like that. I like that thought. Uh, let's take a real quick break, and I want to get back to this. Such a great conversation. My special guest right now that I'm talking to is Gina Miles. You know her and love her from NBC's The Voice season 23. She's on Team Nile. She is really killing it. Such a beautiful voice and a lot to say, both through her music and through her, you know, through this interview. I'm learning a lot, and I'm really enjoying the person that she is. Let me tell you what we're going to go out to break with. Let me just make sure I've got it right. Yeah, we're going to go out with Gina Miles and our next upcoming guest, Kala Banham. They sing Bon Iver's Skinny Love. We'll be right back. Good. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Okay, so we'll come back here. This is where we got to stare at each other with awkward silence for a minute. So I have a clean cut here, the sound and the video. And while we do that, I'm going to get organized with my script. So I'm going to shut up now for a few seconds. Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. My special guest right now, she's in Sacramento, California. Gina Miles, Team Nile, season 23, The Voice, NBC. Check it out. Our new shows every Monday and Tuesday, 8/7 Central, and on Peacock the next day. Hi, Gina. Welcome back.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I didn't want to take a break there. We were in such a good having such a good conversation, but let's pick it back up. Um, you're 18, you're 19 now. You were 14. Is that when you really started singing? You said you were playing and you sang in different venues. Was that really when you started your musical, or were you musical way before then?
So my dad's a DJ, and he has been like my whole life. So that was definitely like a big part of my life. And I did choir and things, but I never took it seriously or started writing till I was like 12 or 13. So I'm a little bit later than most people when they like start singing out of the room. that was not me. I wasn't a singer. I wasn't
That's okay,
trying
because
to.
everybody has that story, and I let yours is original. So let's go with that one.
No. No people who started singing out of the womb. You
I
guys are
never
awesome.
believe them when they say that. I never believe them anyway. So
I'm sure that sometimes you see like the little videos of the toddlers singing, and
yeah.
I believe that they really were. So, but not me. I got a little bit of a later start. Um, but I did choir and things, and me and my sister are attached at the hip, and we always would sing together. But I didn't start writing terrible songs, but I did start writing them until I was like 12 or 13, and then gigs at 14, and then it just kind of had its own way after that.
I like this story and the idea, I guess, the thought of your dad being a DJ. What kind of music did he play? Was he like an original DJ? He did his own stuff, or did he play like weddings and bar mitzvahs, or what, or did he do all of it? Because you probably have
So
to.
yeah, he started when he was 19.
Okay.
Um,
What's his
he
name?
his name's Ryan Gailey. Um, but maybe find him around.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna look up
but
and see if I can find any of his mixes.
but yeah, he did clubs and everything and that sort of biz, and then he had two girls, so he had to kind of put it on the back burner for a bit. So then he switched to things like weddings, bar mitzvahs, for fun events and stuff like that. But he would always take us with him, and we would help set up. And then when
How
I
old
got a
were
little, oh, we were babies when we would go to gigs because you can't always get a babysitter, you know. So he had to just take us with him. We just like sit.
did you
Sometimes we go
wear?
to the
Sorry,
headphones.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, did you wear? I got so many questions about this. Did you wear earplugs and headphones and all that?
Yeah, when we were younger, we would wear them, but and then when I got a bit older, I would start going to gigs with my dad and setting up and learning how to put together the sound systems and um, writing playlists and making playlists for weddings and stuff. I was never one to announce things though. That was always my dad because I would announce things and people would be like, "Is somebody talking?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so my dad would just have to do it. But yeah, it's super fun.
You guys you grew up, or you were born and raised part of your life in Illinois. Where in Illinois? What
It's
town?
Central Illinois. It's called Paxton. It's a
Paxton.
really tiny town, but it's a Central Illinois area.
And you would dream about what? What would you dream about when you were in Paxton, Illinois? Little girl, not too long ago.
I really liked my life there. You know, I did sports. I sang choir. I had the best group of friends, and I have the most supportive family. So I really had a pretty simple growing up life, and um, I just when I started singing and writing, I just really dreamt of being somewhere where there were people like me, and and not to say that there was anything wrong with the small town life because I definitely don't hate on it, but I wanted a little bit more um, when I was there, and I think it helped me be who I am now to have the place that I grew up in and the people that I grew up around. I think it really made me who I am now. So
Yeah, there's something about a small town and having people that love you around you. Something about that I think is a great foundation for when you go to a bigger city like Sacramento. What was that like for you when you moved to Sacramento first?
it was a shock. It was
Uh,
definitely a big, just not even just from the city, but just moving this big states like Illinois to California. Such a culture shock, such a different environment. But I really embraced it. I've been here for about a year. Super, super into California now. Definitely a full California girl. And I really like it here. But it was different. It was different, and it took some getting used to it, but I'm into it now.
hmm. Well, you have your first EP out. I just want to tell listeners what we came when we came back in from the break. Gina Miles of the Voice Blind editions. We just came in with the one that got away, and we're gonna go out to break here in a moment with somebody that I used to know. You did a great job on that one. That was the Voice Knockouts. All right, so I'm kind of asking these questions here coming up right now a little bit later. And I'm going to ask Kala the same questions. Who turned their chairs for you, Gina?
It was Kelly and Niall.
Okay. Who did you choose?
I chose Niall for my coach.
Why?
So obviously, like, he's Niall Horan. He's awesome, and he's a legend in the industry. But in the moment, he was so adamant, so clear of his vision for me, and I felt very wanted and supported. He has a very like gentle like warmth about him, and I was just like, this man knows how to handle me being really nervous.
Yeah.
And he had talked about that he had experienced similar things when he started out, and I felt really seen as a person, as an artist, and it felt like a really, really good decision. It just felt right with me. So I don't regret my decision for 1 second. I'm really happy that he chose me and I got to choose him as well.
That's great. He's from what I hear, he's a nice guy. I'm going to tell you a little personal story. So I used to own a restaurant in Santa Barbara, and one of the ladies that worked there, one of the servers, was dating him. They
Oh
grew up together from back home, and she was dating him
my
long distance. And this is when they blew up. The whole band blew up, and he came by to pick her up at the restaurant, and it was just mobbed. It was just crazy how many people loved him, and everyone, nobody knew. The server never told anybody. She never told anyone. But I thought, I've always had a good impression of him from that experience. He was just a nice guy, seemed like a nice guy.
he is. He's an amazing person as well as a coach. He's just a really swell guy, and I have nothing but nice things to say.
Other than him really seeing you, which is wow. I mean, how often does that happen? When someone really sees who you are as a person, as an artist. What have you learned so far from the coaching? Can you say, like something you'll take with you forever?
He's really like, especially for me, he's super gentle and not very pushy, but he's really instilled in me that confidence and being confident is not a bad thing. It supports your singing, it supports your artistry, and a lot of the things that he said to me over the time that I've got to work with him is nothing but support, and trusting in yourself helps other people trust in you, you know?
Mhm.
That's such a big philosophy and things I've taken away from him, and he's super helpful to me because I have no especially when I started the show, I really had no confidence that I would make it as far as I've made it. So he's definitely helped me a lot with confidence and not being so shy. But even though I'm working on it still, but
Well, it
it's helped.
doesn't come off that way, but just be who you are, because I think that's what is drawing your audience and your new fans and to you. You just be who you are. I think he's given you great advice. You sang, there was a line, I want you to know who I am. Finish that sentence for me.
I just
Oh,
what
sorry.
it's
That was Kala's song,
like
wasn't it? What a way to introduce her. I stole her line and I gave it to you. But so we might as well welcome her since she's here. Hi, Kala. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I'm sorry I just took your line. You know why I did that? Because yeah, you guys are teammates. Because we switched for the listener. Kala got a little tied up on the road, hit some traffic. So I swapped around and then I messed up my question there. That's the question for you. Let's save it for you. I think Gina, sorry about that. Gina did a great job, I think, telling us who she was just a little bit. And I think we're I just love getting to know you. And now I get to know you. So Gina, you're gonna you're gonna hang out a little bit with us, right? You're gonna hang out through this?
yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
All good. More the merrier. What's it like to see each other?
So good.
Did you
We like my best friend.
Yep.
So
the two of you best friends?
Oh, we're
Yeah.
very close. Yeah.
What how lucky to get both of you on the same show. I don't know if I knew that. So that's very cool.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
Well, let me do this. Let's take a break and we'll come back and introduce you properly. Kala,
right.
Gina, hang out. And at the very end here, maybe I can get some questions out of both of you here. Okay. So we're going to go to break right now. Let's make sure I got the song right because I'm not doing so well here. We're going to go to break with the, well, I don't know. You'll find out when you listen. I'm all mixed up, but I can tell you what we're going to come in with. Gina Miles, who we just spoke with, her original incredibly impatient. That doesn't describe you to me, Gina, from what I know, but incredibly impatient. I love the song. The music video is terrific. Go check it out on YouTube. We're going to come back with that in just a moment. And don't worry, Kala, I've got Your Love Me Tender by Elvis Presley. I end the show with that one. Very, very, very beautiful. All right, we'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. I couldn't, my questions are like, oh, edited weird now. I could tell when I started it. Gina's like, what?
And I always think, that sounds like a question that would be for me.
Yeah, then I can see in your eyes, you're like, yeah, he's got it. He's already messing up. I haven't even started the interview and he messed it up. All right. Well, we're having fun. Welcome, both of you. Let's go back to we're in commercial right now. And let's come back to the show if you're ready. Call it, just so you know what we're doing in between breaks is I need like a 5-second silence gap before we come back. So we're, as I told Gina, we'll just stare at each other in comfortable silence. And then we'll come back. Okay. Let me make a note here. Well, why don't I have you do it now? Dr. D, you see Richard there. He's our sound engineer. Richard, I'm going to get Kala's drop right now. So because I know I'll forget at the end.
Okay.
So have you ever done a radio drop, Kala?
I have not, no.
Okay, Gina, tell her what it is.
Okay. Okay, one, your hair looks so good.
Thank you, Fred.
You look phenomenal.
My
Anyway,
hair used to look like that.
Richard's hair looked like that. Yeah, right.
but yeah, I'm gonna say your name and you like introduce yourself. You can be like, I'm on the show, I'm on The Voice, Team Chance now. And then drop an at like Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or something. And then be like, and you're listening to the Jeremiah Show. And then you're done.
Alrighty.
Kala, you're
Cool.
hired. What if you don't have any other singing work during the day, you can call me. You're hired. I mean, Gina, I'm sorry here. Oh, I need some coffee. Kala. I'm all
We get it a
flustered
lot.
now.
It's okay.
Yeah. Kala, okay, well, I'm going to count you down, or Richard can count you down. And then again, give it that little like 3-second beat so I can cut the video better without Zoom putting your name on it. Okay.
Okay.
Richard, you counting down?
Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone. This is Kala Banham. I am an artist currently on Team Chance on season 23 of NBC's The Voice. And you can follow me on all social media platforms at Kala Banham everywhere. And you are listening to The Jeremiah Show.
Very good. Very good.
Perfect. That was really, really good. Okay, let me find my space. You two are so good already. You're ready for doing radio shows all over the world. All right, Kala Banham. All right. Let's see, follow Kala. And did I give out your, I don't think I gave out your info, Gina. Where do you want them to follow you? I guess I didn't put that in here. I'll get that at the end. Okay, let's go. You guys ready?
Sure.
I'm going to give it that uncomfortable silence for a moment here. Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. Guess who just dropped in? It's Kala Banham from The Voice. Unbeknownst to me, we booked 2 best friends today. Both that have, yeah. And they have the both of them. Man, I want to see you two singing together more often. I'd love to. I'll buy that album for sure. Did you know each other before The Voice? by chance? Speaking of
No,
pun
we did
intended.
not. We did not. We actually met each other after blind auditions even happened. So we didn't even really talk to each other much before the auditions at all. But we instantly clicked. And then, us landing on the same team definitely helped propel things. And then being battle partners and rehearsing together 24/7. We got super close. I flew out to California so we could watch our battle episode together and everything. So yeah, we are besties now.
Oh man, that's so cool. Gina, so she's all right then, you're saying,
She's so
your friend.
amazing, perfect, beautiful, talented, love her.
I want to tell everyone, if you just joined us in your car or wherever, don't go to work, hang out and listen to the rest of the interview. We're talking to two of the voice artists that are just so incredible, and just making their way through the voice and blowing away the competition. It's on the show, Gina Miles and Kala Banham. That's a kind of a cool name. How do you Kala? I've never ever heard that. Where does that come from?
So my full name is actually Mikala, Mikala, and it is a Hawaiian name, I believe. My parents love
Yeah.
like Hawaiian culture and the names and everything. I'm not Hawaiian at all, but they love the names and the language. So yeah, that's where my name comes from. But I chopped off the first syllable because Kala was kind of just a family and friends nickname growing up, and it's something that I really identify with. So I figured if I'm going to introduce myself to the country, might as well go with a name that I identify with most closely. So yeah.
It's beautiful, and now it makes sense. Yeah, it is Hawaii. Hometown. Am I saying this right? Kissimmee?
Kissimmee.
Kissimmee.
Close.
Oh, how did you say it?
Kissimmee. Yep. Kissimmee.
Okay, it's not so much kiss. It's okay. Florida. It's in Florida. Never heard of it. I wonder if I've ever driven through. I've driven through Florida. And then Windermere, Florida is that where you're at right now?
Yes, that's where I am right now. They're not too far from each other, but more often than not, I'll just say I'm from Orlando. And usually, unless you're from Orlando, you don't know Windermere or Kissimmee. But Disney is kind of like all around Kissimmee. So if you're familiar with Disney, it's most likely in Kissimmee.
Now, Gina, same question for you, Kala. What happens? What if one of you win The Voice? How would you react? What would that look like? Being best friends.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would be excited either way.
Has there ever been a tie, I wonder? Because I think you could both make it. That'd be nice to see both of you up there.
Yeah.
Doesn't it say, though, already that you're on The Voice, that you are The Voice? I mean, individually, for all the great artists that are on there. Doesn't that already say a lot?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's incredibly validating, because you could go your entire life having friends and family telling you that you're good at singing or that you should go for it, but to actually have not only the producers but coaches tell you that you have something that's worth exploring, it's very, very exciting.
Oh, it's got to be. Are you enjoying the moment? Are you, so often I think, especially when you're trying to make it and you're driving and you're grinding and you're writing and you're trying to get in front of the right people in the music business and get seen and get heard, and then you're on The Voice and you've got these great coaches and all these millions of viewers around the country and around the world. Do you stop and go, all right, do you appreciate it where you're at, or is it just as
I mean, you try to, like ever since day one, even through our first stage rehearsal, people were telling us, like, take it all in, don't let it just fly by you. And it's something that you have to consciously remind yourself of every single day, because it can easily all feel like a dream and like none of it is actually happening. So yeah, it's something that we have to remind ourselves of on the daily, to just take it all in and appreciate every moment.
what do you do to take a moment and appreciate yourself and what you have accomplished?
I think just stop and breathe. We have so many different things going on. Like obviously related to the show directly, but in our personal lives and things that we have to consider moving on afterwards, like where do we go from here? There's so many things that you're constantly thinking about that I think viewers maybe don't know, just as people watching the show. As artists on the show, you're constantly thinking about what your next move is and how you can best capitalize on the opportunity. So I think the most important thing is to really just stop and breathe and make a conscious decision to remind yourself how grateful you are and how unbelievably cool the opportunity is.
Mhm. How do you as a artist from season 23 of The Voice on NBC, how do you take that once it's all over, whether or not you are crowned The Voice winner, or if you just, when it's all over and you go back to what you were doing before, which is making music and creating and writing and all those things. How do you use and spin this opportunity off? I mean, what's your plan? What do you hope will happen after The Voice?
Well, I think it looks very different depending on what you were doing beforehand. There are some people who have been pursuing music full time their entire lives, or at least up until the show. Whereas for a person like me, that wasn't my reality. I was working at a public relations agency, and that is, what I studied in college and what I was most likely going to continue doing if it hadn't been for this opportunity. And so now this has sort of been like a once in a lifetime opportunity, not only for the show, but having this platform means that now I have the chance to possibly actually give it a go, So for me, that means thinking about original music and all the things that go with releasing original music and marketing that and performing at live venues for the first time, which is something that I've never done before. So it really depends on the kind of person you are and at what stage of your music career you were at beforehand. But for me, it feels like I'm just kind of getting started.
Yeah. Keep that attitude, keep that perspective, if I could request. And I'd also like to, just say to you and Gina, don't give up, because I've been interviewing artists from The Voice in season 16, and I follow all of them, and I'm watching Mendeleev was on one of the first, and Mendeleev is opening for Ben Harper this summer. Ava Lynn Thuris and the girl named Tom, all of those people have been on the show, and they all have different, The Voice has given them opportunities in different ways, and it's really what you make of it. And it's also going to come to you, everybody differently, right? It's never the same path for anyone. It's not going to be the same path for Gina or for you, but don't give up, because I see this is who you both are. You're really, really, your music is beautiful. Your voices, your writing. I would just plead with you, don't ever give up. You're meant to do this. And, and you'll get there. So whatever way, you're already there. And that's what I also talk to a lot of musicians, and a lot of them that have been around forever, well-known musicians, say to me, you keep thinking about what's next. I need to get bigger, bigger, bigger. But you're already there. You're doing what you love. You're singing, and you have an audience, and you're doing what gets you up out of the bed in the morning. Like Gina, wants to write and create. It's her passion. I'm sure that's the same for you. So anyway, that's my little advice for what it's worth, that you didn't ask for. We're going to take a really quick break. We're talking with two voice artists, Kala Banham and Gina Miles. Miles. Yeah. So we're going to come right back. NBC's The Voice, season 23. NBC Mondays and Tuesdays, 8-7 Central. The coaches this year: Chance the Rapper, Kelly Clarkson, Niall Horan, Blake Shelton, and hosted by Carson Daly. Yeah, come right back. Let me see what song here. I want to set it up, because this is Kala's song. So we definitely want to tell you what we're listening to here. Let me see. Where is it, Kala? Just got to get it right. I guess you know what I'm going to say. Oh, by the way, we came in with Kala singing Joni Mitchell's Both Sides Now. Wow, that is a good cover. That is might be my favorite. Even don't tell Joni Mitchell, even over hers. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Gina Miles. I don't know what it is. My soundtrack's all messed up, but you're gonna hear it right now. So just enjoy it. We'll be right back. Sorry, because I had you guys different, so I'm like, I don't know what songs. I don't want to say the wrong one in our master track.
So sorry for having you guys flip flop.
don't,
It feels so bad.
don't worry, you're just making me look really stupid.
Oh no.
No, that's all me. That's not you at all. That's all me. I do that on my own. Okay, we're gonna come back here. Let's see. We've got, what do we got, Richard? One more break, and then I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say time to close, but I'm not going to. So a little short break, and then we'll.
You can go with how as long as you want.
Is this our last? So we already did all our breaks?
Correct.
I wasn't counting three. We did three. Okay. So we can go as long as we want here. We're not going to do that. I know you probably both of you want to do something else in a moment. But I am going to bring you back and just a little more with you, call it, and then maybe bring the two of you together to close it out. Does that sound good?
Cool. Sounds good.
Can I get 10 more minutes of your time? Okay. You're not going to say anything, and I'm going to pretend like you said yes. Go ahead, Richard. Okay, wait, we're gonna be silent for a moment, please. Moment of silence. Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. Kala Banham is here. Team. Well, do we say what team you're on now? Kala?
Sure.
I don't know if we can. I don't know where we're at with that either. You're a first generation American. I have heard third generation, seventh generation, 10th generation. I don't think I've ever heard first generation American. Tell me about that.
Really? Oh, yeah. I mean,
No, I don't think I do. I never hear that.
yeah. So I'm a part of the first generation of my family to be born here in the United States. So my dad is from Australia and my mom is from the Philippines. They both moved over at different points in their life and met in college and then started their life in Florida. And that's where I was born and raised. So yeah, very proud of that.
Did they meet here in the United States in college?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they met in Texas actually, and then moved over because my mom's her immediate family had moved to Florida actually. So I have a lot of immediate family close by.
What Australia?
Mm-hmm.
Dad, right? So is
Yeah.
he like the typical Australian guy, like that you see in the movies, that's just big and he wrestles crocodiles and he drinks big lager of beer and gets in fights.
Not so much anymore.
No?
he's I feel like assimilated culturally quite a bit over his 2 decades or so in the United States, but I think he would like to think that he has a little bit more of his accent than he does, but all of his family is pretty much still over in Australia, so I do get to go visit them quite a bit. But no, he's pretty American at this point.
Yeah. What does he have a big knife strapped to his leg anywhere?
Not as of late, no.
Okay. So stereotypical, isn't that? Sorry. Please apologize to your dad for me. So big country wild. That's in the spirit though of the Australians, I think. I think there's that spirit of almost like America a little bit, where you've got that pioneer spirit with that two countries that made it. And I think that's running through everyone's blood. And your mom from the Philippines, we're in the Philippines.
So she grew up in the Manila area, so like kind of right at the very center where all the activity happens. But she moved over with a lot of her family members when she was, I think, 14. And then they moved to Chicago. Like a lot of my family moved over to the Chicago area, but her and her immediate family, like her parents and her siblings, couldn't stand the cold. So they moved on their own down to Florida. So I have like hundreds of relatives up in Chicago, but there's just a couple of us down here.
Yeah, of Philippines to Chicago, winters. Oh, no thanks.
Yeah.
What are the two differences? So Philippines, what's I think those are really two different upbringings probably for your mom and dad. How does that affect you, having the parents from two really great places, but with probably different cultural upbringings?
Yeah.
What if, that feels like kind of like it's probably special. You probably had an interesting and really good upbringing, it sounds like, with a big family around and singing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, they both really tried to, share with me as much of their culture as they possibly could. And, that was probably a bigger challenge for my dad, considering most of his family was still in Australia, but I did go visit quite a lot growing up. I think I went and visited Australia pretty frequently, actually. I studied abroad there as well. I'm going back in like a month for one of my cousin's weddings. So I go pretty often, whereas with my mom, a lot of her family came over here. So it's been pretty easy to identify culturally with that side of my family. But I think more than anything else, my mom's, I would say, the more creative musical side of her family, which is, very big culturally for the Philippines, has something that's really influenced me a lot growing up. And that's something that my dad has contributed to as well, because, he played guitar and piano and drums when I was growing up. So I really kind of learned from both him and my mom. So I think that their abilities as musicians was one of their biggest influences on me growing up.
Mm. So do you ever have you thanked them officially yet?
Oh, yes, I definitely have. Yeah.
Um, that's so cool. I asked Gina this question, and I wanted to ask you as well. I know, but I just, for the listeners that are joining or that are listening right now and getting to know you, tell us who turned their chairs for you.
So I had, in order, I had Niall, Kelly, and Chance turn their chairs for me.
I asked what Gina felt about. I don't even know. Gina, jump in here. I want to know what both of you felt when actually the chairs turned. I mean, because were you scared when you went up?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, 1000%. I was terrified.
100%, 1,000%. So when these chairs, because you're probably if it was me, I'd be like, they're not going to turn. What if they don't turn? Are they going to turn? I'd be like going back and forth. I wouldn't even remember to sing. I'd be so nervous what if they don't turn? That must be just a terrible feeling. So you tell me first, Colin, what did that feel like when three?
Well, I will say, luckily, they don't play the sound that you hear in TV when the chairs turn. So thank God for that, because that would definitely be very. But I actually know that Gina and I have had very different experiences when it comes to this, because for me personally, I was terrified up until the moment that someone turned their chair for me. I was trying to hype myself up as much as possible walking up there, but the second I opened my mouth, I wasn't doing any of the things that I was supposed to be doing. All of my staging, all of the melodic decisions that I had planned were just immediately out the door. And I was telling myself in my head, like, this is going so poorly. No one is going to turn for you. And so the second that I did see someone turn around for me, I was just immediately relieved and felt like I could just rely on muscle memory and all the things that I had prepared for so long. And at that point, it was when I finally was able to like really get into my groove, I think.
Isn't it terrible what our minds do to us?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't our minds go, you're the best, you're the greatest, you're going to sing. So instead we're like, I'm not going to do very well. I'm going to trip. I'm going to forget something.
Yeah.
Isn't it terrible? Well, I'm glad but I guess that's part of the pleasure of the win, basically, is that you overcome your fears and you do it.
Totally.
Gina, what did you think when the chair turned? I forgot to ask you that question.
I was so scared. I was like scared. I turned around and I was really scared. So for Kala, it like helped her like feel grounded and like thrive. And then for me, I just like didn't remember anything ever.
Are you
And
more
it just,
scared? Oh, yeah.
yeah. So just like looking at them really threw me for a loop.
You're like, don't look.
Yeah.
You're scaring me. Yeah. Are you more scared before the chair turns or when it actually turns around? Which would be, I think, I'd be scared on both sides of that one.
For me, definitely more scared before, but I think for Gina the other way. So we're opposites in that sense.
Yeah. Well, all right. So now I'm just praying right now I get the questions connected to the right person because I didn't make good enough notes. Okay, you did Carla, you did the Goo Goo Dolls Iris, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So at the end of that, did I see tears in your eyes?
I don't know. You might have. Who knows? It's kind of a blur.
Yeah, I thought, well, it made me emotional like that. That's one of my favorite songs. I love that song.
Yeah, it's an incredible song. I've loved that my entire life. I definitely felt very emotional singing it. I mean, you all watched the episode and saw Kate Martin go, and she's an absolutely incredible vocalist. And so as soon as I heard that she was my partner, I was very sure in my brain that I was not going to move on. And so I feel very lucky that I still am in the competition right now. But so I kind of was like, this is gonna be my last moment on this stage, and I have to give everything that I can. So yeah, I definitely tapped into every aspect of me, lyrically, emotionally, vocally. So yeah, you might have seen me crying. Who knows?
Yeah, just a little bit of a tear. I thought I saw it, and I thought, wow, that's emotion in the song. Yeah, you go back and watch the video. I think it's there. Might have just put a sparkle in your eye though. So okay, now I know I've got the right person to ask this question to. Call it. So that line, the song in the song, I just wanted you to know who I am. What do you want people to know about you? I mean, there's probably a private life and there's now your public life, but your fans, you're connecting with new fans all the time now. And they're discovering you and your music. And what do you want them to know about you, who you are?
I think I want people to just know that no matter what area of my life I'm referring to, I want to give everything, all that I have to give, whether it's rehearsing a song or writing a song or even things that aren't related to music at all. I take so many aspects of life very seriously. And that's not to say that I don't find joy in them. I do. Like, I love every single second of being on The Voice. But I think that I want people to realize that I really do analyze and dive into every single choice that I make as an artist and just as a person. Like I take things really seriously while not trying to remove the emotion and heart that's put behind them. So I think I just want people to know that, like, regardless of that, I'm also just a real person that likes to connect with people. So I think that's what I want people to know.
That's great. I like that. Okay, so I want to open it up to both of you before we say goodbye. Gina, what have you always wanted? What's a burning question you wanted to ask Kala? Maybe as a fan and a friend.
Oh,
I feel like we talk about everything, but
I wasn't there though.
this is not music related. But have you ever thought about dyeing your hair like different colors? Just out of curiosity.
yes. That's so funny that you asked that because I told my hair girl, it's like, I think I want to do a color next time, like a fun pop of color. I had hot pink hair at one time, like entire head of hot pink hair.
I've seen the photos. They're gorgeous.
So yes, the answer is yes, I have.
Okay, so
yeah. Gina, I'm going to quit my job. I mean, you have better questions than I have too. That was a good question. How about you, Kala? What do you want to know about Gina?
I want to know, what was okay, so when we had to film that one thing that we did together, when our very first time meeting, what was your first impression of me? Be honest.
Ooh. Be honest. The first time I met you, I so deeply wanted to just be you. Like, the second that I met you, I was like, I want to be her so bad. I think I'm serious. No, just because you have like a peaceful, like warmness about you, and it's like that's all I like would want to be is like just like a super warm, like beautiful, amazing woman. And so I really like met you, and I was like, man, I really wish I was Kala. Like,
Oh, you're the best. I love you.
I love you too.
I like that. I think we should leave on that note. I think that was a good ending to the show. I just want to thank both of you for coming on today. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you and getting to know you a little bit. You can find and follow, not in real life, on Instagram, Gina Halls at Gina. Gina, sorry, Miles official. What is Gina Halls? Did I just copy that off here? No, Gina Miles. I don't know where I got that. I copied that off Instagram. God, I'm messing up today a little bit, but it's all right. Follow Kala on Twitter at Kala Banham, Banham. Kala spelled Kala, on Instagram and TikTok at Kala Banham. So fun. Thank you so much. Let me tell you, I know what we're leaving with here. And music. We're gonna take you out. Love Me Tender by Elvis Presley. Kala Banham sings. Just a beautiful rendition as well on this cover. Thank you so much. Keep in touch with us.
Bye.
Bring your music to the Jeremiah Show. We will drop it anytime you've got anything new. And good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was so nice.
Yeah, do you want to thank anybody, either of you? Better thank some people.
Thanks, Niall. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks to my mom and my dad, even though I think I already thanked them, but thanks for encouraging me and supporting me and for helping me learn music along the way.
Nice. Gina.
I just want to say thank you to my family, my aunt, my stepmom, my dad, my sister, my cousins. And thank you to Niall for picking me. It's cool. So I just want to say thank you.
Check out how Gina and Kala do. NBC's The Voice season 23 on NBC Mondays and Tuesdays, 8 p.m., 8/7 Central. Check it out, Peacock, on the next stream the next day. Communicate, but listen more and evolve. Everybody have a great week. And here, once again, is Kala Banham, Love Me Tender by Elvis Presley. Enjoy. Done.
Woo!
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right. We'll have this podcast up about an hour from now. If you want to find it, it's on the Jeremiah Show. We'll have that up, and then we'll have the YouTube up in a couple days.
Perfect.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Please keep in touch.
Bye.
Bye.